Good evening, everyone. My name is Sana Shafat. Today, I will be talking about performance management evolution in the virtual and global era. First, I want you to introduce myself. My name is again Sana Shafat. I'm a consultant and CEO of Simplifying HR. Today, I will be talking about GE, their performance management issue, and the solution they came up with. The introduction. Importance of performance management is always underrated. A lot of companies don't even bother doing performance management, or they do annually. Though Aguini stated, performance management is a continuous process of identifying, measuring, developing, and performance of individual and team aligning performance with the strategic goals of the organization. To piggyback with that, Hearn also stated the importance of the performance management. CEOs, companies, director, influencer, and big names in business regularly preach the importance of effective performance management. The act of engaging with an employee to review performance management process combine information gathering through monitoring goal completion, feedback, and discussion. First of all, I would like to introduce the company that I will be talking about, uh, GE, which is short for General Electric Company. It is founded in 1892. All of us have some product of GE in our house, in our kitchens, in our laundromat. We are very well aware of the company. It's an American multinational incorporated company. The main headquarter is in Boston and in New York. GE mission statement is to usher in the next industrial era and to build, move, power, and cure the world. The statement presents GE as a pioneer and a change initiator in all the segments that it operates in, such as the healthcare, aviation, digital niche, venture, capital, and power, among other. So just to give a little bit more insight about GE product is probably you guys know about when the New York City was hit by pandemic. A lot of GE ventilator was issued to healthcare centers to help them focus on helping the patients. So if we go back to the history of GE, no other American company can claim a heritage of innovation as deep and broad as GE. From Thomas Alva Edison's first incandescent light bulb to the latest jet engine brimming with the internet-connected sensors and 3D printed part, GE has pioneered technologies that have spurred world-transforming changes and improved the lives of billions. If we talk about the diversity in GE, GE is a global company. 68% of their employees are based outside of United States, and their workforce represent nationalities from 169 countries. So, what is the performance management issues in GE? The article I chose is written by Max Nissen Quartz, and the title of the article is How Millennial Forced GE to Scrap Performance Review. GE was faced by the Asian competitors, and yet the CEO from 1981 to 2001, Welch's approach was intense and widely imitated as the companies in the past. Few of the issues which were mentioned in the article by Quartz was formerly known as the vitality curve but frequently called Yang and Yang. The system hinged on the annual performance review and boiled the employees' performance down to the number one, which they were judged and ranked against peers. A bottom percentage, 10% in GA case of underperformer were then fired, Another issue about this kind of management was discussed by Schachter in 2018 in his article. Employees whose performance was compared with another person's performance believed that while delivering such evaluation, their manager failed to account for specific detail of their performance. Thus, they considered the evaluation to be less accurate. Another very important point which was neglected uh, in the performance evaluation in GE organization was a negligence of global culture because GE had adapted diversity and 68% of their staff was from different countries. So there were few issues with the same style as American performance management, which didn't really fit in the foreign culture. So this I had taken it from the article of Hastings in 2000, which he wrote in 2009. The American performance appraisal process suit the American culture, which is regarded as highly individualistic, egalitarian, according to Geert Hofstede's research on cultural dimensions. Pay for performance system is inappropriate in culture that focus on interpersonal relation and collectivism. This is definitely in the Asian side where all the work is done as collective, not individual point of view. In some culture, face-to-face performance meeting never take place. They definitely take help from the mediator instead of manager directly telling you that what is wrong in the performance. There is a dependent relationship in Asian culture. Employees depend on leaders to help them solve work-related problem. This doesn't really mean that they are very dependent on their employees, but that means that the level of respect is very high and they don't want to make any decision without consenting with their managers. Aguinis had mentioned some of the side effects of the poorly implemented system. So if you have a management system, performance management system in place where you are constantly compared with your peers, you will have a lowered self-esteem. There will be an increased turnover rate because if you're in the bottom 10%, like how it was in GE, that means that you're getting fired. Your relationship with your employee is damaged. Decreased motivation to perform your work because you're constantly being judged about your performance. There is an employee burnout and job dissatisfaction, so the turnover rate will be very high. Use of misleading information. That could be a case where employee is trying to save themselves from getting fired. Emerging biases. Some people who don't get fired, they might be considered as being favored by the manager. Unclear rating system. Unjustified demand on managers and employee resources. Increased risk of litigation. In the past, it wasn't really common, but now suing is very easy, and there are many organizations who help you to sue the companies for free. There are some other evidence about the issue. Schachter in 2018 in his article explained other evidences about poorly executed performance management. The five main causes of burnout as delineated by Gallup research all stem from poor management, unfair treatment at work, unmanageable workload, lack of role clarity, lack of communication and support from a manager, unreasonable time pressure. So, how they say there is always a solution to every problem. There are few solutions that could be done to resolve the issue of performing in that way. Schechter 2018 quoted consultant Bruce Tilgen, I have a motto. When it comes to performance management, management should be good news. Employees shouldn't dread the moment their boss come to speak with them about their work. Performance management in virtual world. Since 2020, a lot of companies have transitioned from working from office to working from home, remote working. A lot of people don't have access to internet, they have children at home, they are lonely, there are a lot of issues. So Julie Weed in 2020 mentioned a few strategies that can help with performance management issues, especially in work from the home era. Before the meeting, the manager and the supervisor should meet together to discuss that what are they going to give the next step for the staff member. Gather all the information of what the staff member goals are and how the member performance is, not just the recent month or not the year before, but in between every project that the staff is managing, how they are managing. Begin with the empathy. A lot of people were alone, a lot of people had going through trouble working from home, so definitely acknowledge the struggle that everybody been through. Support versus privacy. So there's a thin line between support and the privacy. So you got to discuss with the staff member that if they are going through any kind of hardships, any kind of trouble, if they need any kind of support. Recognize the goalposts have moved. Since pandemic, a lot of people had to do a lot of different roles which they were not doing before, and their goals had moved. So definitely recognize anything extra the staff member had done. The closer in person, the better. The closer in person, the better means that if the performance management had to be done in person, that's even better. You don't have to do a lot of people at the same time, but there is an opportunity to meet with a person, and everybody can use the mask on policy and 6 feet policy. Help them move up is definitely to give them a next step. Give them next step if they need any kind of help or if they are doing great. So tell them that this is the next step for you, that you can move up to the management position. And upbeat. Always motivate the candidate. Tell them that they are doing a good job. Performance management in global era. Just like GE, who embraced diversity in their organization, many other companies hire foreign-born workers, but they don't bother making any changes to their cookie-cutter performance management. Rebecca Hastings in 2009 explained the importance of performance management to fit global culture. In some cultures, you simply cannot transpose culturally offensive management style, said Charlene Solomon and Michelle Schell, author of Managing Across Culture: The 7 Keys to Doing the Business with a Global Mindset. The 360-degree approach is a good example of this. It requires a fundamentally egalitarian mindset and value system in order to be effective. By innovating and adopting the global framework to align with local practice is a key. Transitioning to a culture of feedback in which managers are trained to feed forward rather than focusing on documenting how our employee performed in the past. Importance of documenting performance management. So the last week we definitely spoke about this issue. Documentation and an employee's performance and keeping a record of it both are very important if the employee needs a development plan or any further coaching. Aguinis explained the following reason to convince manager to document employees' performance. Minimize cognitive load. Memory-related error can easily occur at work. To reduce recency error and get the load off keeping track of everything, but just observing documentation can help a big deal. Create trust. When the performance evaluation depend on the documentation, there's at the least chance of being biased and unfair. This in turn promotes trust and acceptance of decision based on the evaluation provided. Plan for the future. When documenting employee performance, it can be used to create guidelines for a better plan for the future if the employee is in need of further training or coaching. Documentation can be very helpful. Provide legal protection. The last but certainly not the least important part of the documentation is it can save a company from a lawsuit. As Agwaniz mentioned, keeping accurate record of what developmental activities employees have completed and with what degree of success as well as performance in general provide a good line of defense in a case of litigation. These are few of the references and article I have chose. Thank you so much for your time and have a great night.